Hello students, welcome to the Science Online class. Today I am going to explain the chapter Transportation of Materials of class 7th. In this video, I am going to explain transportation in different living organisms like the amoeba and the higher organisms like the human beings. The next topic which I am going to cover is the excretion in the human beings, transportation of substances in the plants. So let's start with the topic. Children, you all know that every living organisms require food, water and oxygen for their survival. But do you have an idea that how these things are circulated in the body? So today let's talk about the lower animals. So lower animals like the amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, and the simple multicellular organisms like the hydra and spirogyra, the materials they move by a process called as the diffusion. Now you must be having a what is diffusion? Diffusion is a process in which the movement of the substances takes place from the higher concentration to the region of the lower concentration. So children, through this process only the waste materials they are circulated from their body. But if you talk about the higher animals, there is a system which transport the materials from one part of the body to the other part, which is called as the circulatory system. If you talk about the plants, so plants, there is a system of pipe-like channels which are called as the conducting tissues or the vascular tissues, which transport the water, wastes, minerals and the food materials within that plant. Now, let's talk about the human circulatory system. Children, human circulatory system is composed of three main components: the heart, blood vessels, and the blood. So, we will discuss each component separately. Let's talk about the heart. Students, human heart is a muscular organ which is located in the chest cavity and is slightly tilted towards the left position in your body. This heart is divided into two halves. Each side of the heart has the two chambers. The upper chambers, they are called as the auricles, or you can call it as the atrium, and the two lower chambers are called as the ventricles. Here you are seeing the structure of the heart, and the right auricle, the left auricle, the right ventricle and the left ventricle, it is visible to you. In between the auricles and the ventricles on each side of the heart, there are the valves present, which allows the blood to flow only in the one direction, so that there is no mixing of the blood. Now, what kind of blood? That is the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. You must be having a doubt that what is oxygenated and deoxygenated blood? So oxygenated blood is a blood which is rich in oxygen, while deoxygenated blood is a blood which is rich in carbon dioxide. Now, if you talk about the structure of the heart, you are seeing here that there are no walls present in between the auricles and the ventricles on each side. This heart, it acts like a pumping organ and brings about the movement of the blood in the body. The right auricle, it receives the blood from the different parts of the body through the superior vena cava, and the left auricle, it receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs. Now, so what will be the artery or the vein which carries the blood? That is the pulmonary artery. It carries the deoxygenated blood from the different parts of the body through the superior vena cava, and it is received by the right auricle, while the pulmonary vein, it carries the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. Here, after oxygenation, the blood is distributed through a artery which is called as the aorta to the different parts of the body. So children, this is the largest artery which is present in the body. Let's talk about the blood vessels. Blood vessels, it is a network of the tubes which consists of three types, that is the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. The arteries, they take the blood away from the heart, and the walls are elastic in nature. And one more thing children, the walls are not present in these arteries. So these arteries, they carry the oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery. Children, I have already discussed what is this pulmonary artery doing. This pulmonary artery is carrying the blood, that is the deoxygenated blood from the different body parts to the auricle. When these arteries, they are divided into thin tubes, they are called as the arterioles. Next blood vessel is the veins. These veins, they move the blood towards the heart, and they are actually the one-way valves. One-way valves means it does not allow the flow of blood in both the directions. It only allows the blood in only one direction. The next, it carries the deoxygenated blood, but there is an exception here, that the pulmonary vein is the only vein which carries the this oxygenated blood from the lungs to the different parts of the body. Let's talk about the last component of the circulatory system, that is the blood. Blood, you all know that it is made up of, or you can say it is composed of three types of blood cells and the plasma. So blood cells, what are those blood cells? That is the erythrocytes or the red blood cells, the leukocytes or the white blood cells, and the thrombocytes or the platelets. So let's talk these blood cells individually. The red blood cells, They carry the oxygen and are red in color just because due to a pigment called hemoglobin which is present inside it. They do not have the nucleus and its lifespan is about 120 days. These red blood cells cannot repair themselves. Next blood cell is the leukocytes or the white blood cells. So these white blood cells, they are of various types like the monocytes, lymphocytes, eosinophils, basophils, and the monocytes. The main function of these white blood cells is to fight against the infection, and they are generally formed in the bone marrow. The next blood cell is the thrombocytes or the platelets. So these platelets, they are formed in the bone marrow and helping in the clotting of blood. Children, when you get injured, this clot develops on your skin when you are injured through a protein which is called as the fibrin protein. So children, this fibrin protein is forming a layer over the injured part and thus the blood gets clot. Let's talk about the functions of the blood. Children, so there are many functions of the blood. The first function that it carries oxygen and carbon dioxide gases during the respiration process from the lungs to the different parts of the body. It also transports the waste products from the whole body to the excretory organ that is the kidney. It also transports the digested food from the mouth to the end of this alimentary canal. The blood, especially the platelets, they are helping in the clotting at the sites of the injury where the injury occurs here. And the last main function is the it also regulates the body temperature. The children's body temperature is maintained by the blood. Now you must be having a question that how does this blood circulation takes place in the human beings? This human being, if you talk, their blood circulation is of double circulation. Children, why we say the double circulation? Just because the blood reaches, yeah, it moves towards the through the heart twice. Twice. First time the deoxygenated blood will go, and the next time, the other time, the oxygenated blood flows through the heart. So blood circulation, if you talk, that the deoxygenated blood from the different body parts is coming from the superior vena cava to the right auricle, and the blood is passing through from the right auricle to the right ventricle, and in between it there is a tricuspid valve. This valve is allowing the flow of blood in one direction. That means it does not allow the backflow of the blood here. So children, when the blood it reaches from the right auricle to the right ventricle, again it cannot go back from the right ventricle to the right auricle. After this, from the right ventricle, the blood, what kind of blood? That is the deoxygenated blood. It goes towards the lungs for oxygenation, for the exchange of gas, like the oxygen gas here. When the blood it reaches to the lungs, it gets oxygenated, and the pulmonary vein, it carries the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. So from the left auricle, again the oxygenated blood, it goes to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, the blood will go to the aorta for the distribution of blood to the different body parts. Here you are seeing the structure of the heart here. How does the circulation takes place through these arrow signs here? Now, you must have seen the doctors. They are holding an instrument to measure the heartbeat, and that instrument is called as the what? A stethoscope. The stethoscope, which the doctors usually hold in their hands to check the heartbeat of a person. Children, in normal adult human being, the heartbeat is about the 70 to 72 times per minute. And if you do the exercise or a muscular work, then this heartbeat will goes up to the 150 times per minute. Now, there must be a question that what is this heartbeat? Heartbeat is actually the regular rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart, which takes place in your body, and it produces a sound that is a lup tup. Children, you must have listened the sound thug thug in different songs or in your area, but actually that sound is the lup tup, and you all can listen this sound through the stethoscope. Now, how does the blood flow? What will be the pressure? So let's talk about the blood pressure. Children, generally the normal range of the blood pressure is 80 by 110 millimeter of Hg. Millimeter of Hg, that means it is measured in terms of the mercury. How does the mercury level goes up? And it is measured by an instrument which is called as the sphygmomanometer. Children, here is the diagram here, which measures the blood pressure in your body. So this 80 is the lower range of the blood pressure, and the 110 is the upper range of the blood pressure. It is actually the systolic and diastolic pressure here. Children, this systolic and diastolic pressure you will study in the later on classes. Now, let's talk about the excretory system in the human beings. Children, what is excretion? Excretion is the process in which the living organisms throws out the nitrogenous waste from their body. It consists of the following parts. So what are those parts here? That is a pair of kidney, which are bean in shape structure and located just above your waist. There are two kidneys, that is the right kidney and the left kidney. This kidney is made up of the functional units are coiled tubes, which are called as the nephrons. So these nephrons, they are acting as a filters to remove the waste products from the body. Now, the waste which is produced in the body, it is in the form of the liquid, that is the urine, and the solid feces like the stool. This urine, it contains the 95% of water, 2.5% of the urea, and 2.5% of other waste products. Once the urine is formed, it will pass on through a narrow tube called as the ureter. So there are two ureters, which is receiving the urine from the each kidney. Now this urine is passing from the two kidneys to a large sac-like structure which is called as the bladder. from bladder. This urine is passing through the urethra, and finally the urine is passed from the body. It is thrown off from the body. So in this way, the excretory system takes place. Besides the excretory organ of human beings like the kidney, there are other organs in which the excretion takes place. That is the lungs. Lungs, they remove the carbon dioxide and the water which is produced during the respiration. The next organ is the skin. It removes the urea, salt and excess water through the sweat from the sweat glands which are present in the skin. The next, that is the excretory organ, is the large intestine. It removes the solid wastes from the body. And the last excretory organ is the liver. What does this liver do? It removes the excess sugar by converting into the glycogen. So children, we all have studied the excretory organs which are present in the human beings, different. Let's move to the term that is the dialysis. Children, what is dialysis? Do you know that? When a person kidney get failed to filter the blood from the body, we need a kind of artificial way or artificial machine through which the filtration of the blood takes place so that the waste products can be thrown out from the body. But if a person's kidney is not doing so we all can use this dialysis method. So this actually, what is this? It is a method of separating the toxic substances from the blood by machines. Here you are seeing the figure of the dialysis. A person is here whose kidney is failed and is connected to a machine which is called as dialysis machine. Generally, it takes place for 3 to 4 hours, or it can goes up to the 6 hours. So this, when a person's kidney stop failing, the filtering the blood, this machine we all can use this for filtering the blood. The next term, that is the sweating. Now you know that sweating, it is generally occurring in the summer season. Actually, what does this sweating is this? It is a production of the watery fluid from the sweat glands which are present in the skin, and they are helping in the regulating the body temperature. It also helps the body cool through the evaporation of this sweat. Actually, what this sweat consists of? It consists of the urea, the salts and the excess water. It generally experienced when there is a hot temperature and the water is coming in the form of sweat from the body. So children, we all have studied the excretory system of the body. Now let's move to the transportation of substances in the plants. This transportation of substances, it takes place by the two things, that is the movement of the water and minerals from the soil through the roots in the plant body, and the movement of the food which is prepared by the leaves to the different parts of the plant. So this movement of the water and the minerals, it takes place through a pipe-like structures or the channels which is called as the xylem elements. So the xylem, it is responsible for the movement of water and minerals, while the phloem, it is responsible for transporting the food from the one part of the plant to the different parts of the plant. So both the xylem and phloem, they are combining to form a vascular tissues. This process of losing the water in form of vapor from the leaves is called as the transpiration. Children, this transpiration, it takes place from the small tiny pores of the leaves, and if you talk about the advantages of this transpiration, so it helps in the transport of the water and minerals from the soils to the leaves. The second advantage, it produces a cooling effect and it protects the delicate cells which are there inside the plant from the hot sun. The next advantage, that it provides a rigidity to the plant body. It also helps in sending out the excessive absorbed water by the plants and development of the plant body. So children, these are the advantages of the transpiration. Now, how you can prove that the water is given off by the leaves during the transpiration? For that, we all can do an activity. For that activity, let's take two well-watered small-sized potted plant and we mark it as A and B. Now cover these two plants with the help of the bell jar. Remove the leaves of the plant B and now cover it with another bell jar. Keep the plants A and B in the sunlight for the few hours. Then you will see the presence of water droplets in the two plants. So you will see the water droplets which are present in the plant B, and it is taking place due to the transpiration process. But you will not be able to see the droplets in the A plant. So this water droplets, it is actually developing after the transpiration process. So we all can prove that water is given off by the leaves during the transpiration process. I hope you all have understood. So let's have the what we learned so far, that is a circulatory system in the single cell organisms, circulatory system in the human beings, and we have discussed the heart, blood vessels, blood, the excretory system in the human beings, transportation of water and minerals in the plants, as well as the food, transpiration, and the advantages of the transpiration. I hope you all have understood the chapter. Thank you for watching this video. So I will come again with another video. Thank you everyone.